YouTube is good with y'all, man. Welcome back to a brand new video on the channel. Today I'm gonna be showing y'all how to make hard mainstream beats for artists like Lil Baby, Lil Durk, and Future. So let's get right into it. Alright, so y'all heard the beat in the intro. I made it from scratch, so I'm gonna start by deconstructing the melody first, and after that I'm gonna get into the drums. So the sample consists of 6 melodies, so I'm gonna go over every individual melody, show you all the presets I used, the effects I used, and all the notes I laid down. So let's start out with the main melody. It sounds like this by itself. Sounds very dark, very ambient, has a lot of space to it. So the preset I used for that melody is this preset from Diva. It's called MK Frost Piano. It's a stock preset. I believe I turned the effects off right here since I wanted to add my own effects later on. Basically start out with these chords. First chord I laid down was a basic E minor triad chord right here. When I had that laid down, copied it over. As y'all can see, I moved the middle note down one. Like I tell y'all in almost every one of my videos, if you want to add some tension, make a melody sound very dark, make sure to use those half steps in the scale. So after that, as you can see, copied it straight over 1, 2, 3 more times. But I wanted the melody to sound a little bit more full because it was only really filling up the mid frequencies at this point. So I decided to add some root notes under it. That's what it sounds like without. With the root notes. Just add some character to it. So yeah, for the root notes, nothing crazy. Just basically pitch this note down, copy it over 3 more times. But to add some more tension and some more bounce to it, I decided to add some more root notes under it. So you got this B, which I copied over 3 more times. At the end of every 4 bars, so right here and right here, got this C. Once again, a half step to add some tension to it. It is what it sounds like. Down to B. Added the C. And it repeats itself right here. So yeah, I like the way how that sounded, but it still sounded a bit dry to me. So I decided to add some effects to it, of course. But before I added any effects to it, I decided to render it out to audio clip. Next I sent it to a mixer track right here. For the first effect, start out with this EQ, cutting the sub lows out since you don't need those at all. Lowering some of the low mids and boosting some of the high mids to kind of bring those high notes out a little bit more. After the EQ, added this EFX fragments to it. I believe it's a plugin from Arturia. I don't know what this does, but it made it sound crazy as f. Yeah, this is what it sounded like before. Now with this effect, that's crazy. I just messed around with the knobs a little bit. I don't know what they do, but made it sound good. So yeah, only 2 effects really, but it already sounded good. So yeah, after that, decided to render it out one more time. And I pitched it up 200 cents. So instead of it being an E minor, it's now an F sharp minor. That's what it sounds like right now. Start out with the EQ again. Cutting some of the harsh frequencies out. Once again, boosting some of the high mids. After that, wanted to add a reverb to it. Got this reverb from Arturia. The cool thing what this reverb does is you can add distortion to the reverb, and you can also play around with the width a little bit. So yeah, these are the settings I use for that. What it sounds like without. With the reverb. Just widens it a bit and add some space to it. Yeah, that's pretty much how I laid down the main melody. So yeah, for the next melody, it's nothing new. You'll see me do this all the time. Just adds a lot of character, add some body to the melody. When it's a keyscape, got this LA Custom C7 preset and turn up the reverb. Basically what I did is copied over the root notes I laid down on the first melody. So now it starts on F sharp right here, but I switched up these notes a little bit. So it goes down to C sharp, up to D, and up to F sharp again. And on the 7th bar, went down from F sharp to D, D again, and up to E. And the reason why I added this E to it is so it kind of glides into this F sharp smoothly because they're next to each other in the scale. Then of course, copied it up, copied it down an octave to fill up the frequency spectrum a little bit, make it sound more full. So with the main melody, that's what the piano notes sound like. Yeah, that complements the main melody perfectly. Just adds another layer on top of it. Only added 2 effects to the piano. Once again, start out with the EQ to kind of clean up the piano a little bit before you put any effects on it. I tell y'all this in almost every one of my videos, but make sure if you're adding effects, you start out with the EQ. So for the EQ, low end was getting kind of muddy, so I decided to cut some of the lows out of the piano right here using the shelf. Next, I lowered some of the mids and boosted some of the high mids, and I decided to cut some of the really highs out. And after the EQ, added the same reverb to it, but I messed around with the knobs a little bit. So that's what it sounds like without the reverb. Very dry with the reverb. add some space to it. Sounds way better. So after the first two melodies, I wanted to add some more high frequencies to it, so I went and added a lead to it. So the preset I used for the lead is this whistle preset from Flex. Shout out my boy 808 Leak. He actually put me onto this preset. Flex a free VST, stock VST from FL Studio. Yeah, for the notes, basically follow the scale, add some slide notes to it to kind of make it glide a little bit, make it sound a little bit more wavy. So yeah, without any effects, this is what the lead sounds like. Yeah, like I said, basically followed the scale. So it starts out on F sharp, but it immediately glides up to C sharp. On the third bar, glides up to D, next up to F sharp at the end of the fourth bar. And next I basically copied that straight over. So next, decided to render it out and add some effects to it. And effects that I added to the lead, of course, start out with the EQ, cut some of the harsh frequencies out and boost some of the high mids. And lastly, opened up the same reverb from Arturia, which I added to the other melodies. But I decided to put this drive up to 100%. So without the drive, it sound like this. Very stereo. Just I played around with the width a little bit. Now with the drive, sounds way better. And it also blends in with the main melody perfectly. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the lead. So after that, the melody was sounding pretty full already, but I was still missing something. So when I opened up Diva one more time, got the MK pattern gramophone preset. That's what it sounds like. Some sort of ARP. And for the notes I laid down, I basically copied over these chords from the melody we started out with. Copied them over. As you can see, I took the bottom note out. So the F sharp, took that out. And another thing I did, so I cut this note in half. I basically copied it over once more. And yeah, without any effects is what that sounds like. But the preset sounded very random, so I decided to render it out and cut it up a little bit. So cut the best parts out and maybe switch some around. So yeah, I did that. That's what I ended up with. Repeats itself. And of course I added some effects to that as well. So only two effects really. I started out with this EQ, cutting some of the lows out, lowering some of the mids and lowering some of the highs. Next I added the same reverb to it, and I believe I played around with the decay time a little bit. So with the effects, the piano, the main melody, that's what I ended up with. So since I added that melody, now we can basically alternate between that one and the lead throughout the beat. After that, I added this tubular bell to it, nothing crazy. That's what it sounds like. By itself. So yeah, I put some effects on that, EQ'd some of the harsh frequencies out, open up this fruity delay, these settings right here. And lastly, to blend it in with the other melodies we laid down, open up the same reverb and played around with the settings once again. Yeah, it's just a little accent, nothing crazy. Pretty much it. So for the last pattern, of course, we were still missing some low end in the melody, so I wanted to add a sub bass to it. So open up Diva once again, got the HS model K12, and I messed around with these knobs a little bit. So yeah, then I copied these notes from the piano over into the sub bass, and I cut some notes up to add some more bounce to it. So yeah, together with the other melodies, that's what it sounds like. Only thing I added to that was EQ, just to even it out a little bit, lowered some of the highs and boosted some of the lows. And that's pretty much it for the melody. But the last thing I did before I put any drums under it was send all these melodies to a bus and add some more effects to it. So I'm gonna go over these real quick. Start out with this CLA 3A from Waves, a compressor, just to kind of compress it all, kind of glue it all together. After that, I opened this S1 imager, basically just to widen it out a little bit. Next, I add some saturation to it. Got this J37. And lastly, I add this Valhalla Vintage verb to it. Only turned the mix down to like 6%, so very subtle. But once again, this glues it all together. Yeah, that's pretty much it for all the effects. So let's get into the drums. As for the drums, kept it fairly simple since the melody had a lot going on by itself already. Of course, I arranged the melody real quick before I put any drums under it. I'm not gonna get too in depth into that in this video. I actually got a video on how to arrange your beats and how to arrange your melodies. Should pop up right here or here if you're interested in that. But yeah, I got a 16-bar intro, 16-bar hook right here, 16-bar verse. Next got an 8-bar bridge without any drums, and then I just copied that over. But yeah, for the drums, like always, all the drum samples I used came from my drum kits, my Rook Season drum kit, my Heaven Sent drum kit right here. Yeah, this kit is not out yet. I see y'all asking in the comments. It's gonna be out soon. Still kind of tweaking some things, adding some things here and there. So make sure to subscribe to the channel, follow me on Instagram to stay notified when I actually drop this kit. And for the people that got the Rook Season drum kit, this kit, bro, it's that times 10. So it's my best kit yet. I mean, just listen to the snares, bro. So yeah, that's all y'all get for now, man. Let's get into the drums. So for the drums, I always like to start out with the hi-hat and the snare. Snare I used this snare right here. So use this hi-hat. So yeah, for the snare pattern, nothing crazy. Lay down these hi-hats. This is what it sounds like with the melody. And the bounce on these hats, crazy as f. So instead of starting out with a two-step like I usually do, just lay down some notes, maybe like 4 or 5, copied that over and switch it up a little bit. As you can see, took this note out, added some rolls in between. Basically just experimenting and playing around till something sounded right. Just kind of matching the melody a little bit. Basically skipped the second note, added this note to it right here, which I panned. And these notes right here kind of sound off time a little bit. It was supposed to be a two-step, took that note out and moved this one in the middle. Adds a lot of bounce to it. Sounds way better than a two-step. Next I had this roll right here. Took some notes out to kind of build up some tension for this part. 3 notes right here, basic two-step. 4 notes right here. Took some notes out right here. Next I got this roll, copied that over. As you can see, pasted down a few notes. Sounds like this. Goes down to A sharp. Copied it over. Yeah, lastly, to add even more bounce to the hats, as you can see, I played around with the velocities a lot. All right, so after the hat and the snare, I'm gonna lay down this 808 pattern. I use this 808 right here, my rook season drum kit. As you can see, I just followed the root notes and kind of laid some patterns down. That's what that sounds like. So yeah, basically started out with these 3 hits right here. Really like the way how that sounded. Next, copied it over, took this last note out, and I cut this note in half right here. And that makes it sound unique from this part. Next, copied these 2 notes over straight from the piano, but I decided to add this F sharp to it right before. That's it for the first 4 bars. Next, copied it over. As you can see, added some more notes to it. So got this F sharp right here. This D, and of course the root note switched up at the end. So instead of C sharp and D at the end, goes up to E. So after the 808, the hat and the snare, added this open hat to it to add even more bounce to it, fill in some empty gaps, and to make the 808 hit a little bit harder. Start out with this note right here. Copied it over to the next 2 bars. Add this note and copy this third over. That's pretty much it. Next, add a counter snare to it and basically filled in some empty gaps I left in the hi-hats. That sounds like. Lastly, add this perk to it. Our rook season drum kit. Lay this pattern down right here. And that perk sounded very dry by itself, so I decided to add some reverb to it. It's Valhalla Vintage Verb preset right here, and I also panned out to the right a little bit, so make sure to pan out y'all drums, man. It really makes a big difference. Last thing I added on every 8 bars, this crash from my Heaven Sent drum kit. Basically all this does is it just makes the beat hit a little bit harder every 8 bars. Sounds way better. Yeah, after the drums, added some transitions to it, from the intro to the hook to the verse, first to the bridge, and also added some rises to it. Alright, so that's how I'd make hard mainstream beats from scratch, man. Like always, want to thank y'all for watching the video all the way to the end. I hope y'all learned something from the video. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. We just passed 13.5k, so want to thank y'all for that. Yeah, don't forget to follow me on Instagram, join my Discord community, and check out my kits, of course. It's all linked down in the description down below. Yeah, that's pretty much it for me today, so I'm gonna catch y'all on the next video, man. Y'all stay safe.